Thank you. So we're on the record. Welcome everybody to today's Civil Service Commission meeting. Per our agenda, we will begin with the land acknowledgement, and Executive Director Shirley will read the acknowledgement for us today.
Hi, thank you everyone. It's good to see you all. I am not going to actually read the land acknowledgement, but I'm going to take Rita's advice that she gave us a few months ago and kind of give my own land acknowledgement. I recently spent time on Maui in Hawaii, and I thought a lot about the people, the indigenous people of the Hawaiian Islands while I was there, and I, wanted to come home and continue thinking about that. And so I spent some time recently researching or reading a little bit actually about the Lushatsi language, and the Duwamish tribe on their website actually has an initiative that I wanted to share with you that they have for their own staff, and that is to, by the end of 2024, they want everyone, they're encouraging everyone who works for the tribe and members of the tribe and people who engage with the tribe to replace 3 phrases with trade out English and start using the Lushatsi words for those phrases. And I wanted to just, I'm going to share 2 of those with you today because I think I can pronounce 2 of them correctly. Hello is, I'm going to perhaps get this slightly wrong, but I'll try, is heja, and goodbye is hoi. The other phrase is thank you and was a little bit longer and more complex, and I don't want to get it wrong, so maybe I'll bring that one to our next meeting. But in sharing those phrases with you all, I just wanted to use those to think and contemplate and be grateful for our time and place here on Duwamish land, for the Duwamish people and the people of the Duwamish tribe and the people who put together their website for sharing those phrases with us. So, Aisha, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Shirley, for that very thoughtful acknowledgement. We appreciate that. I'm going to move us on to attendee introductions. Let's begin with the commissioners. I'll go first. I'm Charlene McMillan. I'm the current chair of the commission.
Hello, I'm Mary Weidman-Williams. I am the mayor's appointed position commissioner.
My name is Ray Caesar. I'm the employees of that commissioner.
I'm Andrea Sheely. I'm the executive director of the Civil Service Commission and the PSCSC.
I'm Teresa Jacobs. I'm the executive assistant of the CSC and PSCSC.
Sarah Butler. I'm the operations and policy advisor to the PSCSC.
I'm Joe Levin. I'm from the city attorney's office, and I'm legal counsel for the Civil Service Commission.
I'm Ann Vold. I'm also with the city attorney's office, counsel to the commission.
Thank you all. I really appreciate that. Our third item on the agenda is commissioner update. We don't actually have an update in that regard today. We likely will come back to that at a later meeting. So we'll move forward to public comment. I don't see from my vantage point that we have members of the public, but maybe there's somebody that's not in view of the camera.
There is no one here to give public comment.
Okay, and nothing sent in that we need to consider.
No.
Okay. All right, then let's move to approval of the minutes. We did not have a minute last month because there were no items that needed action by the commission. So we're reviewing minutes from the February 12th special meeting. Do we have any questions, comments, or other issues we should deal with before we move to approve those minutes? Well, folks, I'm assuming folks, of course, have had a chance to review them.
Yes. I don't have any corrections, additions.
Okay. That makes it simple then. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the February 12th 2024 special meeting.
I move that the commission approve the special meeting minutes dated February 12th, 2024.
Anyone willing to second?
Second.
Thank you. So the February 12th Civil Service Commission meeting minutes are approved. Okay, moving on to action items. I'm not aware of any items for which we might need an executive session. So we can move on now to item 7, which is the director's budget and department update.
Thank you, Chair McMillan. We do have a budget update, and you'll find that at page 5 of your materials. Thank you, Lisa, for putting these materials together. This is updated as of, I think, last Thursday. And just for a little context, and I might have given this before, so forgive me if I'm repeating myself. We do show, this is expenditures by month for our department. We do show the last year's, you know, for if you'd like to make a comparison. We do have one more staff employed. Sarah Butler was not with this department at this time last year, but I think you started, did you start in May? Okay, so, you know, they'll be a little bit more closely matching going into the coming months. But, you know, this is just informational. We're not required to spend the same amount from one year to the next. I think the more important pieces, you know, is the big picture piece here is just to make sure that our expenditures do not have any big surprises. Always feel free, please, commissioners, to ask me if you do have any questions. But this is just in the interest of transparency and being good stewards of our public funds and the allocated budget for our department. All right, that's.
I have a question, just maybe for the good of the order.
Sure.
A fairly new collection of commissioners. So can you remind us what for this department falls under non-labor?
Yes. Thank you for that question. So our non-labor budget is mostly comprised of they're called internal rates or internal billing. So a huge part of it goes to our rent, to which we pay to the Department of Financial and Administrative Services, FAS. We also pay some central costs to SDHR for the services they provide to our department, as well as the IT department. We have some other, let's see, some other internal costs.
So it's rent overhead, basically.
It's overhead and rent. We have a very small non-labor budget that is, I guess you could call discretionary, but sort of not discretionary, that we pay our, you know, rental costs for our copier. We have a super small budget for training. It's like in the amount of a couple $1,000. But we have less than $10,000 per year for that type of spending. Okay. And everything else, obviously labor goes to labor, and everything else is fixed costs to pay our city partners for the services they provide to our department.
Thank you.
Sure.
And I appreciate Commissioner Wyman-Williams asking that question, because I think that's really helpful just for us to know. And one thing I'm curious about, Andrea, since you mentioned it, the training budget, do you have, are there certain activities that are sort of tied to that budget, or how do you manage that training budget? It seems kind of small to me, and so I'm wondering what do you envision that being used for?
Yeah, well, there are no specific, other than like citywide trainings, which we are not charged for, like the privacy trainings that you all have recently completed as well. We use that for building our capacity as a department. For instance, last year I went to a conference about personnel assessment. And I will be going to an employment law conference later on this month. We have used it for GovQA training, so Public Disclosure Act training. And I have encouraged our staff, Sarah and Teresa, to identify and let me know when there's a training that they think could help build their skills or capacities to better serve the department. But yeah, it is a really small budget. It used to be that, you know, for instance, the Civil Service Conference, which I hope you are all be able to attend this year, is a free conference, but you know, we used to travel to that. We've actually had to offer up a couple of ideas. You know, there are citywide budget cuts coming, and we had to offer up a couple of ideas for the ways that we might cut our budget, small though it is. We have, as I said, about $10,000 in non-committed spending. So I had to propose a couple of different scenarios, actually one scenario to the budget office of what they may cut, and training, a large component of that is up for their consideration.
Okay. And that doesn't cause you any concern necessarily this year?
It does cause me concern, but I also appreciate the budget picture that we're in and that we're headed into. I hope that they will not accept the cuts, but I did have to paint the scenario.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
But there's no critical like certification type training or anything you're required to have that you wouldn't be able to move forward with if those discretionary funds were accepted.
That's right.
Budget process.
That's right. We would still be able to do our work. And hopefully if they do take those cuts, they would be restored in those funds would be restored in future budgets. One thing that I didn't mention here was that we do have, I think I mentioned at our last meeting that there are 2 carried forward requests that I made on behalf of the department. One for approximately $95,000, which is our legal reserve fund for advice that is not related to litigation, but is sort of specialty advice that we may not be able to find in the city attorney's office. That supplemental carried forward request, it's not a supplemental, it's a carried forward request, was granted. And we will see that, I'm not sure what month, maybe after the first quarter, maybe after the first or second quarter budget legislation goes through. So we will see an increase there, although that money is committed or reserved for a specific purpose. The other one was approximately $56,000 for physical space changes, purchases, and that was denied. So sort of changing, we're kind of coming back and trying to figure out how we want to approach that. But we will see an increase, although, you know, it will not, as I said, is committed for a certain purpose, if and when we need it.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, thank you. Any more questions on the budget piece? I guess the only other thing I have to report is that changes are coming. You know, the city's economic forecast is not any better than it was last quarter. Hopefully we will be able to preserve the majority of our budget. And we are considered, I think, by the budget office, the mayor's office, and the city council to be a public safety department. And so, you know, whatever cuts, I hope that they will be minimal, but we will see, and I will share more as I learn it. On our departmental updates, I don't know what level of awareness any of these commissioners have, but there is effort by the city council to have the public safety civil service consider a different police officer exam. I guess that's to say there has been a tremendous focus politically on the work of the Public Safety Civil Service Commission, and I have been in conversations, meetings, writing memos, consultation with our legal partners on our role in this draft and proposed legislation. It's been keeping all 3 of us extremely busy. And, you know, I thank all of you for your continued patience. Hiring police officers has been, is a primary focus of the city. And so that is where we've been putting the bulk of our energy. And we have a very important job to do for the employees in our civilian civil service. And so, you know, we are trying to do that, move that work forward as well. That is all I have for my report. If you have questions, I'm happy to answer them. And as I said, always feel free to contact me outside of these meetings as well if you want to have a more in-depth discussion.
Well, I just want to say that I can certainly appreciate the situation you all are in. I think it's not a surprise that you know, police officer hiring is at the forefront of one of the city's priorities, and you play an important role in that. And if there are things that we need to do to help free up capacity for you all to, you know, lean into that focus, it'll be important for us to know and to discuss, I think, as a commission as we go forward. And obviously, you know, we want to remain responsive to anything that comes our way from any of the employees who are seeking to have their rights reviewed by this commission. And we know that we have some opportunities to navigate some things if it means delegating or doing some other things. So I just wanted to, for the record, offer that level of support.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Weidman-Williams. I appreciate that.
Yep, and I want to echo that. I think that's actually really important. And I don't know if this is the right time or place to consider whether there are things that maybe you've already thought of that would be useful for us to do. But I think if at any point it becomes clear that there might be some way that the commissioners here could help with freeing you up to focus on what you need to do on that side of things, we are more than happy to hear it and to respond.
Thank you.
And the one thing that kind of comes to mind for me is I know that we've talked about things like, you know, updates to the website or maybe even like drafting a new land acknowledgement and things like that. To me, that seems like things that we could, you know, defer in favor of supporting this a citywide priority, if in fact that is needed to free up your capacity. So.
Mm-hmm.
I will definitely take that under advisement. I think those decisions may come. We'll see what happens in the next few weeks and months. And you know, we're going to continue always having our monthly meetings. So to the extent work can be done in the meetings, you know, we should continue doing that. But I'll stay in good communication with all three of you,
Thank you.
about that.
Sounds good.
Yeah, that would be great. Okay, we had a couple case status reports.
Oh yes. Let me get to that.
Can we talk about financial interest statements?
Oh yes, Teresa, would you please speak about financial interest?
Yes, today is the due date. I was just deleting one more, and what comes in will be 100% compliant, and I will send all of those full interest statements to you as they send elections so that they can mark us off.
Yes. Well, and while we're on that, I think I'm recalling a report I got. Did everyone get to complete the privacy training this year?
Yes, I did.
Thank you. Thank you. Commissioner McMillan, you look like you're nodding now. Did you get an email about, do you recall an email about privacy training?
If I did get it, I admit I have not seen it. I can certainly take a look.
Okay, yes, I still need to do it as well. So you and I can both commit to getting it done in April.
Excellent.
All right. I'll talk to you next month about that. I'll get it done. I'll get it done too.
Okay.
All right, I'll move on to the case status report. We'll start with LaFazia Garrity. Ms. LaFazia Garrity and HST actually resolved their matter. They came to an agreement, resolved their own matter, so she has withdrawn her appeal. I'm glad that they were able to resolve that. And finally, Reichenbach. This case has been on our docket for some time, and we did receive the briefing from the parties. We've had a couple follow-up questions with them since we received the briefing. This is for a motion to dismiss filed by the City of Seattle. SPU is the department. So now we have all of the briefing and we have our questions answered. And so I will be working with our legal counsel to consider and make a decision and issue an order on the motion to dismiss. And, you know, depending on the outcome of that, you know, it may come to the commission or it may not. And I will definitely have more for you all in May.
Well, we'll look forward to that.
Now, we don't have anything that we have delegated.
Not at this time,
Nothing active.
no.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
Okay. Well, are there any new items or maybe old items someone might want to comment on at this point?
I do not.
Anybody else? No? Okay, well, if that is everything, then I am going to move to close the meeting. Looks like our next scheduled meeting will be on May 20th, same time, 2 p.m. Okay, so I guess we will be adjourned now. The time is 2:26 p.m.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Bye-bye.
Job, Chair, Commissioner Chair.
Thank you, ma'am. You're a hard act to